Maybe I'll move on. There we go. We are reconnected. All right. So there's been a couple of crazy stories in basketball lately, and we'll start off with one because, you know, I kind of talk funny stuff on this show, and I try to anyways. I try to be funny. As you see right there, I'm trying to be funny while we're going through technical stuff and rain, blah blah blah. Let's see here. Still going through technical stuff. I mean, that's always fun. Technology is great, and when they figure that out, I'll be a happy camper. I'm making their mess with the show, which messing up this, and life is life. Having a bad day, of course, the podcast is assumedly gonna mess up, and maybe I'll cut this part of the show, and who cares? Maybe you'll never know. But anyways, let's move to this story. This is three basketball of some of the craziest basketball stories. I don't talk much basketball in here. So hey, I'm giving to the people. Celtics won tonight, I think. Anyways, Chris Bosh and his wife Andrea are being sued by the creators of an adult film company. According to the report made by TMZ, the couple are being taken to court by Colette and Brigham Field, who founded X Art for an amount of $92,000 in additional unspecified damages for the poor condition of their mansion when it was rented back in 2016. The company apparently paid $138,000 for monthly rent, plus giving another $92,000 for security deposit. However, the Boston's huge home was full of mold and had rat feces in it. The two-time NBA champion has not played in the league since last season after blood clots had once again been found in his body. He is currently in a battle with the Miami Heat, who are trying to take his salary off the books this summer. He has made it clear he's not giving up on making a comeback and could play in another city, with among other teams showing interest. No statement has been found by both parties yet after the news broke out, but both are expected to release one soon. Number one, what do you expect? I know a little bit about residential stuff and commercial situations. You're supposed to, when you do something like that in residential, you have the chance to check it out first. So hopefully, hopefully Bosch's lawyers know this, but you have the chance to check it out first. It kind of goes on you there. But then you kind of think, what the hell is Chris Bosch doing in his mansion, where it has mold? Did you check out the mansion first? They just buy, it just seems like sometimes they buy stuff and say, hell, however it looks, it looks, it looks good for now. And it's just, my thing is, he's so rich. Is this his only mansion? Is he not there to notice these things? He doesn't have anybody coming to look at the crib? Or, it's probably one of these things he bought for his friends and stuff like that. So, and of course, it's a porn company. You're getting in bed with, what do you expect? Definitely, if you're a porn company, you're getting in bed with effed up people. Effed up things are going to happen. All right. Another one this is from 12 Up, and I think the next two stories are from 12 Up. Oh no, the next one's from Yahoo Sports, because 12 Up story sucked. Employee at a sports agency used the National Basketball Association recently investigated a player personnel credit card after it appeared to be unauthorized use. There were indeed authorized uses by Kristen Dawkins, an employee at ASM Sports. From July 2015 to May 2016, Dawkins ran up about $442,000 in damages and Uber rides. Yes, somehow someone took 1,865 Uber rides in under a year for over $42,000. The NBA player whose card it was, meanwhile, has not been identified. This certainly explains the old saying, don't use your credit card or someone else will use it for 1,000. I'm going to mess that up again. 1,865 Uber rides. The number of rides notwithstanding, this is not a good look by ASM Sports, but at the same time, this may average more Uber rides per month than the client's due points, and that don't make any sense. But Jacoby figured this out from at DJ Jacoby, he's a guy on ESPN. So 1,865 Uber rides in 10 months. That's 18.6 Uber rides a day, a $22.50 average. And then he said this cannot be one person. Now, I'm going to give you another story in a minute. Why do these people even think they're not going to get caught when they do this? Definitely for 42,000. I could see like a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there, but he did this all in 10 months. Like you would, like this probably would have never came out if it was maybe $1,000 or anything like that. But who in their right mind runs up 42,000 on credit card charges on basically a client? So some guy that's already paying you, and now you're using his credit card again to run the bills up. Like, tell me where that makes sense. Like, it just doesn't quantify in my brain power. And maybe I'm just not one of these smart people that get involved in this kind of stuff. To where I would go and use $42,000 worth of someone else's shit and say, well, I'm going to get away with this. And now you're going to get sued for probably more. You might go to jail for credit card fraud. So you kind of just messed up your whole situation and something. You probably had a free ride for as long as you needed it. I mean, people just don't make any sense. And where was this guy going? Like it said, an average of 18 times a day. I don't know if the dates are right, but 10 months and 1,000 rides, 18 rides a day, $22 on an Uber. Where the hell are you going? I mean, I don't know if there's enough strip clubs in the world for me to figure out, like, quantify where the hell he was going. It just doesn't make any sense. And, people get this. And then this story right here is just the same thing. Former University of Kentucky basketball staffer and NCAA employee who became an advisor to professional athletes was indicted by a grand jury last week on felony charges of defrauding clients for nearly $1.3 million, aggravated identity theft, and money laundering. Leon Smith, who operated Lexington-based Legacy Pro Management Group and Legacy Athlete Management, is charged with 14 counts of frauding involving 4 unnamed athletes. Well, some of them were named. Between 2011 and 2015, according to a copy of the indictment obtained by Yahoo Sports. The alleged victims of the scheme are identified in the indictment by only their initials, but some sources told Yahoo Sports the 3 of the 4 are Utah Jazz Shelvin Mack, a former NBA player Darius Miller, and Josh Harrelson. Josh Harrelson from St. Charles. Actually, my cousin actually knows who the guy is, went to school with him. Pretty crazy that you can know people like this. And he's been playing overseas and stuff, so couldn't imagine. That's probably a lot of money, to him. If you divide it, $1 million divided by 4, I mean, that's almost $1.2 million. That's $400,000 a piece. I mean, to a guy playing overseas, I don't know how much he's making over there. I mean, pretty good shooter, big guy. Probably making a little bit of money, but that's probably a lot of money, though. The indictment says Smith was not authorized to conduct financial transactions on clients' behalf and therefore entrusted Smith with his or her financial account data, dates of birth, social security numbers, and other personal and financial data. The indictment alleges. The indictment also alleges Smith then used the access to siphon athletes' money into his own business accounts. So you're leading a paper trail yourself, which is dumb in general. According to court records, Smith has been given until May 15th arraignment day in the U.S. District Court in Lexington, Kentucky. If found guilty of all counts, Smith could face 30 years for the maximum penalty in prison and monetary forfeiture of $1.298 million he is alleged to have stolen. Smith, who has played football at Kentucky under Coach Bill Curry and graduated from the school in 1995, at one point was considered an athletic administrator on the rise. He worked in a variety of roles at his alma mater, as special assistant to head basketball coach to Tubby Smith from 97 to 99, director of basketball operations from 2001 to 2006, and assistant athletic director under Mitch Barnhart, primarily serving as the men's basketball team administrator from 2006 to 2009. Smith also worked for the NCAA for 2 years as an assistant director of championships. Oh my God, that's his job. In the 1990s, and 1 year at USA Basketball. In 2003, he was selected on a 1-year term with the NCAA Leadership Institute for Ethnic Minority Males. Wow. Now, the indictment charges Smith with 4 counts of wire fraud, transmitting $14,000 from a private account belonging to client JL to the Legacy Pro Manager Group account on September 12, 2012, depositing a $440,000 royalty check from NBA Players Association earmarked for Josh Harrelson in a Legacy account on January 28th of 2013, taking another almost $3,500 from Harrelson's account to the Legacy account on September 5th, 2013, and transferring almost $2,500 from Miller's account to a legacy account on September 18th, 2013. The indictment also alleges 9 counts of identity theft via forgery of signatures on federal checks, royalty checks, and payroll checks from Harrelson, Mack, and Jaya. The 14 count alleges that on January 9th, 2013, Smith wrote a check for $12,500 from a legacy account using money subpoenaed from legacy clients to NCIC LLC, Alexion & Company, Incorporated in 2012 by attorney Max and Miller. Now, did you see what's wrong with this guy here? Is that he left a paper trail from all his accounts to his, basically. And now, not as only that, he's also getting people he's worked with involved. Jody Meeks, who plays for the Magic now in the NBA. And then also with the MCIC group. So not only does this guy steal money and put it in his own accounts, he's also involved in other people, which is going to make it look bad on them, with nothing but paper trails leading back to him. Now, does that make any sense to you? Would you leave yourself your own paper trail when you're stealing money? Like, that's how a lot of people got away with things like that, as they found other bank accounts and other people's names. And you've had those social security numbers and stuff. So you obviously know what you're doing a little bit by having all these things that you couldn't make up a name. And these are people that are in the... I'm not saying that, like, Sheldon Mack's a good player. The other guy I never heard of. And then Josh Harrelson, I only know, St. Louis guy. So, I mean, I look that kind of stuff up a lot, like a dumbass. I'm a kind of guy that, like, when I'm building this team, like, I'll get one season going on an NBA or NFL game with good players or a team that I like, Cardinals, MLB game with the Cardinals or something. Then I'll go create a team and trade, get as many St. Louis players on there as I can that are, even if they're crappy or not, just to have fun and get some of the players I like. Like, I used to be in love with Willie Harris. Don't know why. And Nick Evans, mostly because they can play any position. I kind of like them kind of guys that can do that. They can play any position. Them guys are always helpful, but you left a paper trail that leads right back to you. Tell me where that makes any sense. Bad reads there. So if you didn't understand it, you can go read the story. Yahoo Sports, 12 Up. Chris Bosh's story, I think, also was from 12 Up. From the last 2 stories, you fled all this money back where it proves that it was you. So you're stealing, and you've let it all back to you. I'm smart enough. I'm not the smartest kind of word, but I'm smart enough to know that if I'm going to steal, I'm not going to lead it back to me. I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to use my kids. I'm not going to use nothing. I'm going to, make up a name and put it on the bank. A bank's going to take money. And it's not like you need all your information. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, for a savings account, do you really need your social security number? You can't figure out how to... You got all this money, you can't figure out how to make a fake ID? And it's just effing stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And now you're going to go to prison for it. And, which is kind of stupid, because a lot of these people get off for this kind of stuff. I mean, Aaron Hernandez killed himself, and now he's not a murderer no more. Which is unbelievable. I mean, he murdered himself. No, I mean, is it really? I mean, suicide, same thing. But you bank this. This is what doesn't make sense with people, is they're stealing money from people who are ended up figuring out. It took them, 4 years for most of that stuff. But then you also got other people involved, and you don't think that some of these people have friends or family or something in the jail? So you put yourself in a situation where not only are you fucked on the outside, you could be fucked on the inside. Literally fucked on the inside. I have nothing else to do in prison. That's why I'm not going. Skinny little white guy, not going to make it too well. But I just think that if I was going to defraud somebody, I would put it under their name that wasn't going to lead back to me. And maybe he thought this because his last name was Smith. There could be any Smith in the world, but still, this dumbassery of people. And even with this porn company, not in, residential housing, you have to inspect it. You are allowed to inspect these things. Like, it's 3 stories that make zero freaking sense. Uber rides. You could have found something else to spend that goddamn money on. Maybe he thought, just taking a few Uber rides, nobody's gonna notice. Well, you took $1,800. This guy thought, well, these players, I lie to these players all the time. Well, you could have lied to them and got away with it, but now someone, with their lawyers or whatever, figured it out, and now look at you. You're gonna be stuck in prison. And now you've lost all your credibility to ever have a good job again. You're gonna be working next to me on the McDonald's fryer, and then the drivers, asking if they want, ketchup and salt for their fries. So just the not very smart things of people. Now I looked on something because I know, it's like I said, I need to be a better guy. So I want to learn how to fix relationships. I didn't look that up. But sometimes my Google, my Twitter, my Facebook, they appeal to me. But I found a story from Breitbart, and this is a report. Pornography use tied to relationship dissatisfaction. A comprehensive new analysis of 50 studies have found that pornography use diminishes man's level of sexual and relationship satisfaction. It doesn't for me. I don't know who these men are, because, porn, like I said, turn around, make a Holly Berry or think, porn star, My hand's not as good as vagina. But anyway, the report titled Pornography Consumption and Satisfaction, a meta-analysis revealed that pornography consumption is associated with lower and personal satisfaction outcomes in cross-sectional surveys, longitude surveys, and experiments. In an overall combined sample analysis of relationships and sexual satisfaction studies, the report states, the consumption of pornography was associated with lower interpersonal satisfaction. Particularly among male viewers, pornography was linked to significantly lower sexual and relational, I don't know that word, satisfaction. On an average, the report states men's sexual and relationship satisfaction, I said relationship again. Bad read, guys, sorry. Bad day. It's bad day. But I got the podcast in. We're passing an hour. Look at that. Went from a half-hour podcast to I've been doing 32 minutes in the rain. Lower sexual and relational satisfaction. On the average, the report states men's sexual and relational satisfaction are advertisingly affected by the consumption of pornography. For purpose of the report, relational satisfaction was defined as relational satisfaction was defined as, then we're going to do the definition. Maybe I'll just say the definition when I see those words. Was defined as participants' contentedness with their romantic relationships. Convenience and content. It's right there. Get it. But these guys don't want it. They're convenient with their hand, which I'm telling you, I'm not right now. The authors and analysts were critical of certain prior studies based on direct queries about how pornography has become impacted those surveyed. The consumers may report that pornography use has increased their satisfaction with their sexual knowledge, skill, and relations. The author warned that self-perceived effects may be due to rationalization, justification, and biased optimism, convenience, and content. It is common for people to rationalize and justify to perceive themselves as personally less susceptible to any negative impacts and behaviors that provide them with immediate and powerful rewards, they wrote. The meta-analysis, which includes more than 50,000 participants from 10 countries, found clear and constant results of diminishing interpersonal satisfaction directly due to the use of pornography. Now this is what I like. When a girl is asking a bunch of men, no, there's probably girls in here too, who cares? But Dawn Atkins, the executive director of the National Center of Sexual Exploitation, praised the new research as making a significant contribution to the growing body of data showing the damage caused by pornography use. What they don't hurt them. Pornography is sex negative. This is a girl coming from a girl. Whatever it is. Hawkins said in a statement made available to Breitbart News because it rewrites an individual's sexuality, it pixels on a screen rather than a real person, which is inherently inconsistent with healthy and organic relationships. A wide body of research is bringing attention to the various ways pornography's negative impacts both men and women, and the latest meta-analysis contributes important findings to that ongoing dialogue, she says. According to the NCOSE, internet pornography consumption by an adolescent is associated with risky sexual behavior that can have profoundly adverse effects such as anal sex, multiple sexual partners, and substance use during sex. More importantly, however, is the harm porn causes to otherwise healthy relationships, as the new report underscores. These findings of pornography negative impacts on relationship satisfaction are corroborated by the studies of Dr. John and Julie Gottman, renowned clinical psychologists who have published more than 2,000 academic journal articles on related issues. Did John know he was going to grow up like this? Dr. John, such a story. Anyways, I have fun with these stories. According to the Gottmans, use of the pornography by one partner leads to the couple having far less sex and ultimately reduced relationship satisfaction, along with multiple other problems. We are led on to unconditionally conclude that for many reasons, pornography poses a serious threat to couples' intimacy and relationship harmony. That's stated in an open letter published last April. So it took them a year to put out the story. But no, I'm not going to deny that I watch porn or hid myself from hid watching porn from a relationship. But I don't see how it causes sex. What do you think it would cause more? Like damn, watching the porn, my shit's kind of hard. My hands, my guys thinking these guys month that I interview must be fucking some real nasty chicks or something, or or is it because they're watching pornography because they're girls, not want to have, and then when she wants to have sex, you don't watch so much porn that you're kind of wore out. Now on my part, I'm not gonna get worn out. I don't see there's a way to get worn out. But I don't see how it could still I could see it being dissatisfied in a relationship leads to pornography, but how does pornography lead to the relationship dissatisfaction? It's kind of like a catch-22 there. And I don't like the word national or whatever the fuck that word was that I kept saying relationship, which should have been said. Sounded better anyways. But I don't see where. I see it in a way where, you see things in the porn, you're gonna use it, and your girl's not gonna want you banging her to shit all the time. You use the right drugs, sex can be fun. You know what I'm saying? Do a little cocaine. You could be going for hours, and maybe that causes dissatisfaction to the girl. But hey, it ain't gonna cause dissatisfaction to me. I would love to last longer, most times. Definitely if I got a girl from behind and she looks like she looks like Halle Berry from behind. I'm gonna get in so much trouble for this show. But I'm trying to be better, lady. So I read this kind of stuff to I'm trying to be a better man for you. I'm trying to teach these guys to be a better man for you. The guy's gonna hear this and say, "Baby, I watch less porn and just bang you," and they're also gonna hear this show and use their imagination a little more and turn you over and you look like Halle Berry from behind. See, I'm just helping you girls out with all this. I don't know if any girls watch the show. Hopefully my mom doesn't watch it. Mom, you don't watch the sports blog from the 10th of May, 2017, please. Or anybody else. This is, I get to post things on Facebook and say, post you should hide from family. Maybe when I post this, it should say, has a little, warning. My family, please don't watch this show. You can watch the first 30 minutes. You can see it. Robbie's a little sad. He's a friend. There's nobody who loves him. And you listen to the Cardinals and Matt Harvey, going out and getting effed up and making $20 million a year, losing some money. But after let's watch the first 27 minutes, the first video, until we put them together. But porn can be good in a way. I mean, sex release is always good to me. Someone was saying that the other day. You get on some of these dating apps, which I'm not big on. And that could also affect a relationship too, because you can go anywhere. And some of them, you just get on and have sex. I think it's Tinder and Bumble. It's gotta go in there to bang girls. I'm not on sex. I'm on Christian Mingle. And I get much better hits since I say that I don't believe in it. No, I believe it. I believe that there's a higher power somewhere. As we get off the porn topic for a second. Only for a second, though. Only on this show where we get off porn for one, just a second, not minutes, seconds. Uh, that's a joke about the Kristen Mingle thing. Like, I believe there's a higher power. I also believe there's a lower power. Some of these people believe they're high. They can make your higher power anything. I don't believe in that. I also don't believe in religion. I believe in a lot of things. Like addiction. Addiction, people say, is a disease, but addiction's a choice, people. Like, when I smoke a cigarette, I choose to smoke that cigarette. When I get drunk, I choose to drink. When I smoke weed, I choose these things. You know what you choose? Whatever you do. You should put a needle on. You chose to put a needle in your arm. Like, I don't know. I might be a different person. I might have a different mindset, but I don't like fiend when I do drugs. Not fiend for anything. If cigarette addiction, I could see it a little bit, not really, because just don't go buy the pack at the freaking store and get over it. It's just an excuse. Smoking is an excuse. Doing drugs is an excuse. Drinking is an excuse. Watching porn is an excuse, I guess, in the long run. Like, I watch porn because I'm not getting enough at home, or I want to make it better. See, helping you out. If I'm watching porn, sometimes it can make our sex life better. But I'm learning a little bit that it doesn't. So, I mean, we can watch it together. There we go. We can just watch the porn together. All right, that's enough of me talking. For my grandma, for Lorian Parr, all IP, for Mac, Zach, Jake, and Joe. This has been a Sports Blog live on gstlsn.wix.com/1314 on ustream.tv /channel /RLBowlesBJR and only on the Greater STL Sports Network.